again, Candace the Edgy Veg. Not too long ago, a couple months ago, did a recipe where I tested one of Gaz from Avant Garde's vegan recipes. I asked you guys who you wanted me to test out next, and an overwhelming amount of you said pickup limes. So today, I'm gonna test out a pickup limes recipe. So Sadia from Pickup Limes, please correct me if I'm saying her name incorrectly, but she doesn't really say her name in her videos, so I don't know how to pronounce it. She's kind of known for making big batch recipes, a lot of meal prep, that sort of thing. So I watched her 3 pasta, 1 pot pasta recipes video, and I picked out one of the pastas and we are going to make it together and test it out, see how it is, see if I would add kind of my own twists on it and give you my notes at the end. As always, my feedback is always honest. Let's get into it. So I picked the 1 pot rosé pasta. It serves 4 to 6 and apparently only takes 30 minutes to put together. So she says everything can go right into the pot and then you can save it up to 3 days. I was actually surprised right off the bat at how many like canned and pre-made ingredients were in it. For some reason, I just thought that she used more made at home from scratch, but that's fine. It makes things super easy. I do that as well. So we have the base of our pasta, which is tomato sauce, obviously, for making a rosé. To turn it into a rosé, she says to use some sort of vegan cooking cream. We don't have that. It's readily available here, as you wonderful Europeans do over there. So I use soy milk instead because it has a super high protein content, so it's very stable with cooking. For the vegetables, she uses zucchini, canned or jarred artichoke hearts. We have those, and then canned or jarred fire roasted peppers, which is actually great because I fire roast them myself and it does take a lot of time. So just going to the store and buying them really speeds up the cook time on this. Oh, the other thing that's making this rosé creamy apparently is hummus, which I have never used in a pasta. So that'll be a new one. And then of course, nutritional yeast instead of cheese. And then the regular ingredients, you know, bouillon, garlic, oil, chili peppers, onion. I'm just using penne. She says you can use whatever pasta you want. If you're gluten-free, use gluten-free pasta. All right, let's get started. So all of this is going into this trusty pot over here. Come closer. All right, we have our big pot here. I have it on medium heat. And she says to just heat the oil, add onions, garlic, chili flakes, bouillon cubes until onions are soft, about 3 minutes. That makes sense. That's pretty standard stuff. So I'm gonna go in with the oil first. I'm surprised that there's only this much oil for a pasta recipe. I mean, maybe because she suggested to use a pre-made pasta sauce. For me, oil is just a very key ingredient in a tomato sauce. All right, tons of onions, which I love. Tons of garlic, which I also love. We love a garlic queen. And we have our chili flakes. Now this is quite a bit of chili flakes and it's not labeled as a spicy pasta. So I'm just doing it exactly how she says to do it. So if this is the spiciest pasta ever, believe her, not me. But I'll let you know. I'm just gonna go in there and give it a little stir, a little toss to incorporate the oil. And today, for your ears, I'm using a silicone coated spatula because y'all are always complaining about the scraping sound. And I listen to you sometimes. Okay, now she says to add the pasta, then the tomato sauce, 1.5 cups water, nutritional yeast, and hummus. I think it's weird to add the pasta first because then it gets stuck to the bottom. If I was to write it, I would do all the liquid first and then add the pasta, but to each their own, right? This is why we have different people doing different recipe videos. She said tomato sauce next. So this is just a like basic jarred tomato sauce. Pasta is definitely sticking to the bottom. Or add the rest of the ingredients. Okay, now we will add the nutritional yeast and then the hummus. This is a strange addition to me, but I could understand why this would make it creamy. And I tried to get the most neutral hummus that I could. Let me give that a good stir and then I'm partially covering it. It does look like a rosé though. All right, so after 10 minutes, she says to add the cream. In this case, I'm using soy milk, bell pepper, zucchini, and artichokes, and then cook them for only 5 minutes. Okay, so I have some notes. For me, if I was doing this recipe, the way that I would do this is I would definitely saute the zucchini with the onions and garlic. That way it really brings out all the flavors. It gets the flavors from like the chilies and the garlic and the onion, but it also cooks this really nicely. Whereas I think after only 5 minutes, like this is gonna be warm but raw. These are just gonna be kind of like boring and bland. So if I was to do it, I would probably cook all of these with the onions and the garlic at the beginning before adding any of the sauce, before adding any of the pasta. This I would put on last because this makes sense. And then she has optional toppings that are sea salt, fresh basil, and roasted pine nuts, which I love too. I would taste after all of this is added and then do salt, not add it as a top. I mean, there's some bouillon, so there might be some salt, but I don't see it being enough for the amount of tomato sauce in there. The zucchini, artichokes, and of course our red peppers. So I'm just going to mix it all together, cover it again, and cook it for another 5 minutes. All right, one of our optional toppings is pine nuts. I'm just heating up a dry pan. I'm gonna throw them on and just keep moving them around until they're toasted. All right, now I'm going to add about half of the arugula into the pasta and then use the rest as a garnish. All right, let's serve. All right, let's plate our pasta. So, add the pasta. Good hearty amount. I mean, it is winter after all. And then I'm going to garnish it with some fresh arugula and then some of the toasted pine nuts. And then she does also say salt, so I have this garlic flake salt that I think look really nice, so I'm just gonna add some of that. All right, guys, there is the Pickup Limes 1 pot rosé pasta. I'm gonna give it a try. Spicy. If you don't like spice, definitely cut that spice down by at least half. But you know what? I don't taste hummus. It actually does add a nice creamy element to that hummus. I would say the vegetables, like the zucchini, is a little more raw than I would like. So like I said before, I probably will cook those first, the onion and the garlic. But yeah, it's good. It's a good, like, basic family pasta. You can make a lot of it. I would definitely add salt and lots of pepper. She doesn't mention pepper in the blog post, but I would definitely add lots of pepper. I mean, you can't make an Italian meal without pepper. That would be crazy. I think the spice would hold up a lot more if it had some more oil in it, something fattier, and maybe like a squeeze of lemon. And then that spice can really hold up, but right now the spice kind of overwhelms everything else, making it seem kind of bland in the other elements, but nothing a little salt and a little oil can't fix. So yeah, thank you so much for watching today's episode. Thank you to Sadia. I'm so sorry if I'm saying your name incorrectly, for this recipe and doing what you do on your channel. If you want to check her out, I'll leave her link in the description box below and her original recipe. And let me know in the comment section who you want me to test out next. Let me know what recipe you want me to try. And if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you next time. Bye.